Okay, so some of you may recall from my introduction speech that I said I was a brony. Well, what does this mean? And what exactly do bronies do? As I said, there's a big community of them. So with this informative speech, I want to shed some light on the subject. So brony is the word bro plus pony, and together equals brony, and is a name typically given to the male viewer slash fan of My Little Pony or the franchise. They typically do not give into the hype that males aren't allowed to enjoy things that may be intended for females or a smaller audience. Now, just to get a clarification on how big we actually are, I have some graphs here that show most of the following is male. Our ages range vary, but the highest is 15 to 29-year-olds. And the education level is mostly some college. Now, I'm sure your first question is something like this. And yes, I do watch a show that may be intended for a smaller audience, and probably not even in my same age range. But that doesn't stop a lot of people from doing a lot of things that they feel might not be socially acceptable or something else like that. And bronies are kind of a stand on that social dogma of things that can only be enjoyed by certain groups or certain types of people or yada, yada, yada. The group goes on. So I'm sure your first reaction is something like this when I tell you what I do. And then your second reaction might be why. Well, I'm going to tell you why the show is so fascinating, why it's got on such a big male audience viewers, and just why we enjoy the show and what we do to show our appreciation of the show and what other people do. So first, I think we should look at a little bit of history. It was all started back in 1981 by Bonnie Zackrell. She was the creator of the My Little Pony franchise, but back then it was called My Pretty Pony, and it wasn't a TV show, it was just toys. Hasbro eventually bought the rights and started shelling out animations. And it's worth to note that before the generation that I'm going to talk about right now, which is Generation 4, there was 3 other generations that aren't worth talking about because they were really lame. And the savior of the show, we all think of her as a queen, as a goddess. Her name is Lauren Faust, and her work, you might know, she was a writer and story director of Powerpuff Girls. She was the animator of Codename Kids Next Door, Foster's Home, Iron Giant. A personal favorite of mine, Cats Don't Dance, she was the animation for Sawyer. And when grown men start watching the show, we ask ourselves this question. We don't really know why we're doing it. We just kind of just know that we're doing it, and after a while, you don't really think about it. But there's a big stage of shock. And now I'm going to tell you what draws people to the show. First of all is the voice acting. This girl right here, Tabitha St. Germain, plays 6 of the ponies. And you would never even know by her voice acting that it was the same girl. Her voice acting is beyond comparison. And one of the main ones that I want to talk about is Tara Strong, and she's the voice of the main character, Twilight Sparkle. And she is such a big name in the animation industry. Some of her voices include she was Ben 10, she was Timmy Turner in Fairly Odd Parents, she sings Meg's voice, she was Terrence in Foster's Home, she was Bubbles in Powerpuff Girls, Raven in Teen Titans, Ingrid Third in Fillmore. And she's also been listed in a bunch of different video games. Her most recent video game was actually Batman Arkham City, and she voiced Harley Quinn. And her voice talent is just beyond comparison. Another reason that people are attracted to the show is a guy named, well, it's the art direction. The art direction is amazing. But most of the props to the art direction can go to this guy, Dave Dunnett, who does the conceptual backgrounds. And as the show progressed, it became the mark of what the art should be in the show. So they took drawings of what he had and they made it real life into the show. And his art direction is just absolutely amazing. So just a couple of examples right here of what they did, how they animated it and what they turned it into. Another guy is Daniel Ingram. He works on the songs, all the vocal songs. And I would show you a couple if I had some because he's just amazing, but I don't think it works. It doesn't work. So I urge you guys to check out some of the songs. I mean, I know it's probably not what most of you guys do, but it's worth taking a note on just how awesome I think he is, and just the songs that he does are really something special, I think. So another reason people are attracted to the show is character development. Like most shows for little girls or for generally little kids, they don't have any character development. Most of the characters are either just stupid, or they seem just solid, like they're a brick wall, like nothing phases them or anything. But with this show, these characters, you can have an understanding for these characters, their character development. And these characters have traits, but a big thing of this show is that they also have flaws. So we have Twilight Sparkle here, who is smart, well-read, and organized, and stuff like that. But her flaws are, she could be skeptical of things that cannot be explained by science, or she lets problems get the better of her if she doesn't know how to solve something. Applejack is a farm girl, hardworking, loyal to her friends, brave, down to earth, but she has trouble asking for help, and she tends to act without thinking. Pinkie Pie loves life. She finds humor in everything, optimistic, carefree, but the negative can be she can't be taken seriously at times due to her ways. All right, now I'm going to tell you how the whole thing started. So when the first show aired, there were multiple reviews on various internet websites and articles. Some good, some bad, but one article in particular got the attention of some people. Cartoon Brew wrote an article by Amity and basically said that the show was like a defining point for animation, that said it was basically dead because all the top names like Lauren Faust, Tara Strong were selling out to companies just to sell a toy. And that got people on the internet a little bit curious into what was going on, and they decided to check it out and see how bad it really was. But they actually, to their delight, they found out that it was pretty good. So I don't know if most of you know, but there's a place called 4chan on the internet. And 4chan is just the pit of hell of the internet. They take nothing seriously. It's known for bigotry, sexism, and basically just all things that you do not want to know. And they watched the show because at first they wanted to rag on it and how bad it was, but some people came back and they said, this is a pretty good show. I really like what they're doing here. And so that got other people interested. Oh, and they're also associated with the group Anonymous, and I don't know if you guys heard, but they're responsible for like hacking corporate internet sites, hacking political sites, putting porn on Justin Bieber's YouTube page, just just troublemakers. They just, well, and these guys do a little bit more serious stuff than 4chan. And soon enough, they started posting stuff to the co-board, which is for comics and stuff like that, general comic stuff. And then the ponies started to spread onto the main boards, and then memes started popping up everywhere, and it was just a good time. And as the internet sensation progressed, as more people started to join the Brony phenomenon, there was more people that started to dislike what was going on their internet site, and they were like, yeah, I don't really like ponies, and you should probably get out of here. So there was a big civil war going on in the boards of 4chan, and people hating bronies, and it wasn't good. It got so bad that eventually 4chan decided to ban everything pony-related. But from this, we have Equestria Daily. From the ban, new internet sites arose like Equestria Daily, who was already hit over 100 million views. And this is a place where people can post just like pony pics and fan fictions, art, music, just anything pony related is on pretty much. It's pony headquarters pretty much. Soon after these events, the threads and posts started to skyrocket, and everybody was talking about ponies, and nobody really knew why, and they just started doing it. And so now I'm going to start to get into what the fans actually do with the show. And as you can see, there's a number of different background ponies, background characters that nobody even pays attention to or knows. But this fandom has gone far and wide to name pretty much every single pony there, and even the ones that don't even have any speaking voices. And it's just what they do is beyond. So I'm going to talk about one special one right here. And she first appeared in the first episode of the series, and people noticed that her eyes were a little bit crossed. And they didn't know if this was it was either an animation error or just a little fun being poked at by the people who made the show. And the animators, the people who created the show didn't really give it much thought. But the fans soon picked it out, and she was seen again in this episode right here, and she said the word muffins. And so our Muffin Queen was born. She always appears in new episodes, always with the same derped eyes. Oh, and her name's Derpy Hooves, sorry. And what the significance of her is that the joke with her probably wouldn't have gone on if nobody would have said anything. Like if the bronies would have never said anything and made her a fan favorite in so many art pictures and stuff like that, she probably never would have existed in future episodes. But the fact that she did really says something that that Hasbro and the people down that make that animation are actually really listening to the fans and the viewers, and just taking input and taking it into consideration. So as the news of bronies, of men who watched My Little Pony started to grow, there was good news, good reviews and bad reviews. And I had a clip from Colbert where he addressed the bronies, but it's not going to work. Some good, some bad, and in the end, it's really just your opinion. And you really can't say anything about a show unless you check it out or give it a little bit of a chance. And so the Hub and Hasbro soon started to they noticed that, that people of an older audience were starting to watch the show, and they started to advertise towards the older audience. And so this is the beginning. You could see just how they were catching on to the brony phenomenon and just adjusting to the times that grown men were watching their show, and they should acknowledge them a little bit. I had this song right here. It was, really wish it worked. It was called Equestria Girls after Katy Perry's California Girls, and they pretty much did that. They parodied the song, but they mentioned the word bronies in it, and it was an exclusive on Equestria Daily, and they just posted it on that site. And they soon aired the commercial on their actual television program, but it was really something special that they actually acknowledged the term brony and that they put it in a commercial. So what bronies are really into, there was something called, what else we do, there's something called the Humble Indie Bundle. And for people who haven't heard of that, it's like a charity. It's basically what it is individual game developers get together and they create, just little ragtag games like maybe a simple Mario platformer, and they sell it as a bundle to raise money for charity for Child's Play and Red Cross America. And for those of you who don't know, Child's Play is like, they work to bring video games to kids in hospitals who can't really enjoy the pleasure of going outside. They connect their families. They connect their families with the person in the hospital by like being able to play online and talk online. So it's really a good cause. And something significant of this is that Notch, the creator of Minecraft, is actually a big guy on the site, and he donates a lot of money. And the bronies have their own thing called the Humble Indie Bundle, where it's basically a bunch of bronies and they bid on games together. And we bet Notch that we could outbet him, and we did. And we said as the deal he'd have to watch 7 episodes of My Little Pony, and we beat him out at $9,001. So that was a pretty big thing. There's also a bunch of meetups that people go to just to talk about pony-related subjects. And a lot of people's lives aren't perfect, and if you don't know a way to escape or a coping mechanism, you can go into some stuff. But I think this is a really healthy outlet just to meet other people that you share a similar interest in, and you can just get together and just talk about things. Even if it's just a show, you can just get together and just just forget about stuff for a while if it's been hard for you. Another thing that we do is art. Honestly, I've never seen so many artists come out of the woodworks for just a show about ponies. And some of this art is just incredibly detailed, and sometimes I watch the live streams of what goes into this art and how much time they spend on it. And it's just really something special to see the work that comes from a simple show. A couple more. Okay, now I was going to include video games, but the video won't let me do it again. And a lot of developers are making video games, and it's really, I've never seen anything like this. This one it's a racing car game. It's kind of like Mario Kart, and the people aren't making money off of this. They just do it on their free time just for fun. And it's just really something to see a community come together like that and just over simple goals, and they're not driven by profit or anything, but just by the love of the show. Another game was Fighting is Magic, kind of like Mortal Kombat or something like that. And just another example of art and what they do and everything like that. And then I was going to have some music, but nope. And just a lot of artists come from this. I know some of you are musicians in here. And it's just really something to see people just pull together and collaborate on music and just ideas. Some, like this song right here, is just kind of a mashup of words that the character speaks, and they put a tune to it. It's like dubstep, but it was really cool. And this one's just like where people make their own lyrics, and they just tie it together with pony-related themes and music. This one right here is just another mashup of words, and this was just strictly percussional instruments where there was no singing or anything, just tunes and stuff. And what I want you all to get away from this is that I don't think there should be a defining line on what people can and can't enjoy just based on maybe its intended audience or what it's for. And I just think if you're truly comfortable with yourself, you really don't buy into what society has to say about what you're doing or how you're acting, just based on something because of what it is. I mean, if you can look deeper than that, I just think that says something really special about you. And I just think that you shouldn't knock something before you try it. And that's my presentation.